look at that. Wow. What's that on the top there? This is Mark. If you're watching this, you're probably wondering the same thing. What is that on the top? Oh, that there looks like a scoop. And the reason for that being is that the electronics, since I've had to switch out the receiver to the Fly Sky, and I'll explain the speed control in a minute. This is a scoop so I can hide the wires and stuff that stick over the top of this bed. You may notice some other changes on this truck too. Let's see, it's a wing repositioning there. One of the subscribers suggested that the wing might be in the wrong position or something. I don't know. Could make heads or tails of the post myself, but you asked and I'm trying to engage you, air quotes. So, anyhow, what do you think about those ground effects there? Pretty stunning, huh? I think so. Huh. Well, you look at that. Man, it almost looks like somebody knew what they were doing. That wouldn't be me. So, anyhow, what I did was I glued them in from the inside. A little bit of hot glue. Then I fit those custom running boards on there. I should turn the light on here so you guys can get a better see. Yeah, that's what it looks like. That's a little bit more stunning now when you look at it like this. And that scoop, you can kind of see what it's doing there. You can see all the little servo wires popping up out of the top there. And you can see the wing in its new position. Oh, there's one more detail to add besides the stunning ground effects there. Look at that side, will you? Wow. Freaking great. I might leave it white like that. It looks pretty good, I think. Let's have a look at the front. Okay, we got some white headlights going on now. Still haven't done the tail lights yet, but I gotta find some suitable material. Then we're gonna do it. Oh, and another little update. I did take this thing down to the track with chassis last night. And let me tell you, it's no less than stunning, the performance. With no gyro. And just a one-way diff in the front. It's absolutely stunning. I can just about make full speed around the whole track while drifting. And four-wheel drive is a little different than two-wheel drive. It's much faster, much more power. You're not going to get the precision and accuracy that you get from two-wheel drive, and two-wheel drive's a little slower. But this baby cranks, man. I got the speed dialed down to like 40%, and it still just rips. And will you look at how low that thing is? Man, that's got to be one of the lowest RC cars I've ever seen. How did I get it that low? I don't know. I just don't know how I do all this stuff. Really, I don't. Your guess is as good as mine. Maybe it's all those parts. I don't know. Yeah, that's the only thing I can really attribute it all to is the parts. Okay, let me get into the speed control on the car here. Let's take the body off here. Alright, what's going on here is you got a Fly Sky receiver there with the gyro built into it, which is currently not in use, but probably will be, just for that little bit of extra control. That speed control that's down there, it's not the one that I was normally using. I had another speed control in my box and I tried it on there, and it's just a brushless 20 amp speed control, like $10 ones on Amazon or whatever. The ones I was using before, like in the Kei989. Anyway, so I had another one. I always buy them in sets of two because they're usually cheaper. And I bought one that was for a tank. I mean, they had like 2 motor outputs and it had a 3rd channel mixing, and it also had, let's see, what else did it have on it? Well, yeah, that was about it. 2 motor outputs and a 3rd channel input and a 3rd channel output too for another motor. Yeah, 3 motor outputs. So there's actually 3 motor outputs on this board right here. I'm only using one. You can see where I cut off all the other wires there. But this is supposedly, I don't even know what that little switch is for. Maybe it's a brake or something. I don't know. Didn't have any instructions with it. Also cut off the other channel plugs, that go to your receiver, and the other one that goes output for that motor too. There's 2 other ones, and then plus the one for this motor. So yeah, a lot of wires to cut off and a lot of little work to do on that thing to get it to work. But I figured, if it was made for a tank, I say tanks. That's what I say. Tanks a lot. And it was probably only $10 too. I mean, when you're dealing with this kind of stuff here, it's all on the cheap. Probably why you get the performance and you get the life expectancy that you do out of it. But it's lightweight and it mounts anywhere, and it usually works the first time you plug it in. And let me tell you what, I can get some pretty good control now with my FlySky radio receiver in here. It's like a whole different car. I mean, without even turning the gyro on, just with having the front one-way diff. And regular, I think it's, I don't know if it's locked up or not. I haven't really checked it, but I think it probably is. The diff in the back is probably locked. But the car is smooth, and man, I tell you what, it's got a lot of steering. This setup, I don't know if you really need to increase the steering anymore. I mean, I probably will attempt to increase it a little bit more without destroying the front transmission there. That's been a goal of mine for a while, is to increase the steering on these stock models without destroying the transmission, because that's where it seems to hit, is down there at the transmission mount. So if you can modify the tie rod a little bit to clear that, you would gain an extra couple of millimeters of steering. Problem is that in order to make a decent tie rod, you have to make it fairly thick. A tie rod has to be fairly substantial. The ball ends that are the big ones, like these ones on up here, are just a little bit too big, and they're not quite as precise as you might want it to be for the tie rod. For the rest of the car, it works great. There's very little wobble at all in the car, and it handles really good. And you can see the wear pattern on the tires there. It's right on the very inside now, boys. Yep, that's kind of where you want it to be. And the steering is a lot more forgiving now. Doesn't have as much, let's just say, oversteer. The car was really oversteering bad before. I don't know about you, but having oversteer in a car, wow. So that means 2 things. You need a little bit of toe out up here, a little bit more than they give you with the stock rod, which is barely anything, a half a degree maybe. You need about 2 or 3 degrees maybe, and that would be optimal, along with the 2 degrees of caster and maybe 5 or 6 of camber. And yeah, that's about it. I mean, if you have all the gauges to measure all that, and you can do it. Plus, I found that the front, by nature, the suspension is a little bit stiffer than the back, and tends to make this thing drive just right. So I don't know, but I haven't changed anything except to put the monoshock on here, and it's just the stock shocks and everything in the back, and just the change of the arms, and the ball diff in the front, and I think it's a Kei989 locked up diff in the back. I could be wrong though, it might just be the stock open diff. Yeah, this car's like really not stock anymore, but it was stock for a long time. And this car I actually purchased after I purchased the Kei969, so this was my second car which was stock. For all of you that are concerned about what kind of car and when I bought it and all that, yeah, this was purchased about a year and 3 months or so ago, and I had the Kei969 for about 6 or 8 months before that, so it was purchased about 2 years ago. Yeah. And there's the Kei989 right there. Gonna get ready to do some work on that guy too while I'm sitting here in the shop doing it, but I'm gonna go take this down to the track, and I'm gonna go run a few laps with this body on there just to see what it's like. So maybe I'll get some shots of that for you. Stay tuned for that. This is Mark's Home Hobbies. Check you later.